Hello friends and welcome. I'm Sarah Liz and I have an emergency card video I'm super excited about. This is the Plants and Flowers kit that came out in the middle of March, and it has tons of flowery, planty, punny goodness in circle sentiments, rectangular sentiments, and in strip sentiments. There's 4 different fonts for that, tick marks to help you make sure you get everything cut out straight. And in the kit, there is a card sketch. And in this video, we are going to stretch that sketch to 2 different fun fold cards. And what's more, we are using minimal supplies, like 2 die sets per card. I can't even believe it. I hope you can believe it. I'm stoked. So let's get started. For card number 1, I am starting with an A2 card base. Mine is top folding. I prefer that for this card. And I'm adding that pink piece. It's 3 3/4 by 5.5 inches. So it'll go top to bottom, and it leaves me 2 little pieces on the side where I will add my colored cardstock. In the original video, I just used an A2 panel for this, but I want to cut a hole all the way through the front of the card. Okay, and I'm going to do that instead of that rectangular piece. So I'm using the Fluted Classics ovals from Spellbinders. This has been out for a long time. I have been loving them and raving about them for a year, 2 years now. And I'm going to cut a hole clear through my pattern paper and the front of my card. I opened up that card base before I ran it through. I like the top fold for this because it's easier to fit through my die cutting machine without mucking up the card base. But if you can do it side fold, go for it, right? However it works. Then I cut the smallest oval with its fluting out using some blue solid colored cardstock. I am gluing that to the inside of my card while the card is closed. So from the front, you can't really tell that this is a fun fold, but when it's open, there's like this extra surprise on the inside. Along the edges, I still have some of the card base showing, so I've cut some 1/4 inch strips of pale purple cardstock, and I'm just going to glue that along the edges. This makes it so I didn't have to cut through 3 layers of cardstock with my die, just 2. And that pattern paper is probably about 65 pound. My card base is 110. Then I'm adding my strip that is 1 1/4 inches to the bottom. I've done it out of some dark purple cardstock. I have some shimmer white cardstock that I'm going to add on top. But before I do that, I want to add a little bit of decoration, right? This is the Plants and Florals kit. And so we're going to work with this classic, the Be Bold Blooms from Spellbinders. I don't even know how long this has been out. 2 years, maybe? Whatever small floral die cut set you have is brilliant. Or use pattern paper, okay? I like to line all my pieces up so I know exactly what goes where, and then I just add glue on all kinds of things and pick it up with my wax pickup stick. This is from Trinity Stamps. I get questions about this a lot. I have several tools that are all supposed to do the same job, but this is the one that works the best for me. The wax tip works the most consistently, and that pokey end fits beautifully through the dies themselves. Sometimes I feel like that pokey end can be a little too thick, and it doesn't work as well as I want it to, so I grab for this one a lot. I am just layering up all my pieces. I love this flower I'm working on right now. There's actually 3 pieces you can add, but I was feeling lazy, so we just did 2. That's fine. There's no die cut police. You do what you want to do, right? I am going to add this little bit of a stem on the bottom, even though very little of it is going to show. I feel like that is one of the few florals here that looks a little funky if you don't finish it. So this strip is 4 1/4 inches wide, the width of my card, and 1 inch tall. And I'm just arranging these die cuts, right? I'm looking for a pattern that's easy. And once I get it on there, I don't want to fiddle with it, right? You've seen me do this. You know what's coming next. I have my little sticky mat. I know it's not a full card base. It doesn't matter. I can still just stick it in the bottom left-hand corner, pick it all up, add glue on the back, and lay it back down right on top of all of that. And it's going to be absolutely perfect. You guys, I'm obsessed with this little strip. If you have small floral die cuts of any kind, try this. You could do a longer strip, like a 5.5-inch column down maybe the left-hand side of your card. Like, it's so simple, and really something like this, I forget to pull this out sometimes. I get intimidated thinking it's going to be a lot of work to put these dies together, but really it's not. It's not. And if you're not feeling creative someday, do a bunch of them, right? And just do them in a couple like really basic colors. And it's a way to give yourself a stash to pull from when you want some quick and easy cards. I'll probably do that. I did cut a ton, just a boatload of these flowers. So you'll probably see them on a Quick Card Monday. If you haven't been watching Quick Card Monday, the goal of those videos is to keep it, ideally it was under 10 minutes, but they've been stretching to like 12. Quick and easy things that I can do without a lot of measuring or fiddly die cutting or any of that kind of business. And so that, if you like this series, I think you might like that one. I'm pulling in some more card sketches to that one soon as well. So anyway, back to our card. Here I am. I'm creating a couple of floral frames around that oval. I'm going to glue these to the front of the card, not the inside, right? Don't glue anything to that fluted oval that's in the middle, because if it's glued to both the inside and the outside, it's not gonna open. If you didn't want to make a fun fold, you could just do this as the front of the card. Skip the whole part where we cut a hole into the front panel of the card. If you don't have the fluted ovals, pick a different die cut that you love. What I love most about the fluted classics, there's like ovals and squares and circles and some other options, is that it makes it look super fancy with just one layer of die cut pieces. But there's lots of ways to go about this. I'm sure you can do it with die cuts you already have. Heck, you could do this without flowers. You could use some kind of crafty die cuts or critter die cuts or whatever you have. However, I got super stoked when I can't believe it took me so long to do this. This is the smallest oval from those fluted classics, and it fits on almost all of page 2 of your printable sentiments. Like, I can't even, why did it take me so long, right? And so I'm gonna cut out this A Grateful Heart Blooms, and I am stretching my emergency sentiments to fit a different size and shape. Yes, I love the idea that I can just put a circle sentiment that matches on all kinds of cards in my stash, but sometimes I'm tired of a circle or I'm tired of a rectangle. And this is just one more way to have a really basic die cut shape that will fit on lots of cards. So I'll probably try to use that even more. Here's card number 2. This is a double Z-fold card. And you guys, I don't do clean and simple. If you've been here for a minute, you know that. But this is almost clean and simple. I'm proud of me. So I'm working with a standard side fold card, and I'm scoring it 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. And then I will fold this in half just like a normal card, and I'll fold the front back on itself in half. That's where your score lines are. And it creates this beautiful Z-fold, right? This is not super complicated. I'm going to take another piece that's 1 1/4 inches tall, 8 1/2 inches long. These measurements are on your printable. They were on the original. And score it again at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. I'm going to fold it the same way. It's just that I've sort of flipped it so that the short sides are on the right instead of on the left. And that's how you're going to put your card together, right? It's going to fit just like this, and you pinch them or glue them, and there's your double Z fold. I hemmed and hawed, you guys. I spent a week trying to figure out how best to put this card together and make it work with florals. Keep it simple. I just kept it simple. I am absolutely in love with it. So I am adding, this is that pink piece of cardstock that's 5 1/2 by 3 3/4 that we put on the front of the other card, but I put it on the inside. Mine is a shimmer cardstock, but you can write on it just fine. And so I will write my message there. This one is 1 7/8 by 5 1/2, and it will maintain the same margin on the left that I have on the right. I am going to put this all the way up against the fold of that folded piece on my front. Okay, so here I am. It's just a standard card base, you guys, with an extra fold in it. Okay, now this short piece is going to get glued to the base of the inside of the card. And then this longer piece, I'm going to glue to the front of the card, but I can only glue half of it, right? I only have half the length. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I feel confident here. I've kind of put my fingers there as a reference. I'm going to add glue on the right hand half of that strip of cardstock. And I am, again, eyeballing it based on the sketch. If you want to hold it over the sketch so you know exactly where to put it, go for it. Then I'm going to add glue to this short flap towards the inside, and I will press the whole thing flat. I want to make sure my card is going to fold flat when I put it in the envelope. And there's my double Z fold. That's it. This Zinnia die set is hands down my favorite layering floral die set of all time. I have to force myself not to use this in videos like every other day. I've used it in a video before. I will link that video below and at the end of this one. It's so gorgeous and really, really simple to put together. I actually convinced myself I wasn't going to ink blend on this, but in the end, it's so quick and simple, right? Just a little ink in the middles of all of those. I pulled out 2 inks and I only used the darker one. It doesn't matter. This is from Altenew, and so it's one of their newer Craft-a-Flower dies, and they have like a little keyhole system. So this one is an arrow that points up. There's 2 flowers in the set and they have different cutouts. This one's an arrow and the next one's a keyhole, and I love that that makes it so I'm not gonna mix up which flower pieces go with which one, right? Though you could. I mean, you certainly could mix and match and kind of come up with your own third flower, and that would be brilliant. I cheated when finishing this first one. There's actually 3 pieces for that center so that you know how to orient the center of the flower. And I was like, I couldn't find the third one. And you know how bad I am at following directions. So here's flower number 2, and I will show you how the center has 3 pieces in case you're worried about it, or that's something where you haven't assembled one of these before. Super, super simple. So I am only adding glue to the centers of the flowers, and then I am just making sure that that piece in the middle lines up amongst all of the layers. I think the first one had 5 and this one has 4. I'll be honest, I double checked things a couple of times because the first layer on this one only has, I think, 4 petals, but it's right. It's totally right. So here's the first layer of the center, and it has the keyhole in it. So when I go to add the second layer, which is the exact same shape, then I know how I'm supposed to orient it on my flower. Does it matter? I don't know that it does. So that's why I cheated on the other one. I also decided to go ahead and fluff these. I'm going to give this to a family member, which means it's a hand deliver. So it's worth doing a little fluffing. It doesn't take much. I just stick my thumb in there from the back and curl the petals a little bit. You could use a pencil for this. You could use your pokey tool for this. Honestly, it's probably easier if you do it before you glue all the pieces together. But I swear, I went into this thinking, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm not going to ink blend. I'm not going to curl the petals of the flowers. But then there are so few pieces. They're really, this one in particular, is such a clean and simple card. I was like, okay, fine. I'll do these quick and simple things, but please, please, no, you don't need to. I held up those flowers when they weren't floofed, and they're beautiful. There are 2 leaves in the die set, and I'm just mixing and matching, and I cut out a bunch of them, right? And I'm trying to make sure I know kind of where they go and holding the flower over the top as I add these on. So for the flower on the left, I have that whole column to work with. So I'm going to add that further up. It's going to show parts of the bottom of that little strip of cardstock, but the blue one shows a very little. Yes, you could go and add the 1-inch strip along that, but I wouldn't want to double that up and then try to do a Z fold. It can get kind of bulky and the paper can wrinkle in weird ways. So I was like, you know what? I think this is beautiful anyway. Then the trick for me with these flowers is to make sure that the petals kind of intertwine, right? Squish them together a little bit. And if you try to fit them on a top folding or a vertical A2, you kind of have to, or they don't fit. Honestly, my leaves are overhanging a little bit here. Again, hand deliver, I don't really care. If you do care, you don't have to clip them off, right? Or squish them. You can just stick it in an A6 envelope, which is slightly larger than an A2, and you'll be fine. This die set is brand new, and I'm obsessed. This is from Spellbinders. It's the Mirrored Arches, and it's a little wider than our 2-inch matte layer and slightly shorter than our 1 3/4, but that makes it perfect for repurposing these rectangular sentiments. I'm just moving it all around. You guys, I didn't plan this. We've had rectangular sentiments for 2 or 3 months now, and I'm shocked how beautifully this worked. Like, this just came out. This is a brand new die set from Spellbinders. Do you need this? No, by all means. Cut it out with whatever you have, right? You don't need to use the rectangle ones, or you could just use the regular rectangle, or you could use the circle ones. But I am going to have this overhanging the center of the card. So I've put glue only on the very, very left. And when this is sitting flat like this, it pops up a little. On display, it's beautiful. It creates this great shadow behind it. When I go to write my message, I'm going to keep it behind that top piece and the sentiment, and then down that left column so you can't necessarily see it when the card is closed. But you guys, that's it. I would love to know which of these 2 cards is your favorite and what supplies you might use that you already have to recreate cards like these. If you're interested in the free download, all I ask is that you subscribe to my channel. So click that subscribe button and ring the bell so you're notified of future free downloads, and then go to the description box for instructions on how to get all of these sentiments for free. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I will see you next time.